than 3, you're in a coma. So here's the thing. Not a lot of people are going into comas, thank goodness. But here's the deal. The body puts a huge premium on regulating sugar very tightly. And how does it do it? Well, here's the interesting thing. Average a meal in the United States today, you know what that is? Average meal as far as the sugar content.
No, I have no idea.
It's about 75 grams of sugar.
Wow.
Okay, so and that's average.
So that puts your body in a position where it has to work really hard.
That's the point.
Right.
See, and people like, what's the mystery of insulin? There's no mystery to insulin. Insulin basically is the person that comes out and starts shoving sugar everywhere to pack it away.
Right.
You have 3 main storage sites in the body for sugar. 1 is in the liver, 2 is in the muscles, and 3 is in the fat.
Fat, yeah.
And some people are blessed or not blessed, whatever it may be, their fat cells just are not going to expand. They're not going to get, they're not going to expand very, very greatly. These are the people, no matter what they do, they're not going to gain weight. The problem with it is, that's this guy that I talked about yesterday. He's skinny.
Eventually, it'll start spilling out.
That's actually a really good description.
Yeah.
That's what happens when your fat cells get big. Now, I know I'm going to say these numbers, and don't concern about the numbers, just the relativeness of the numbers. A fat cell that is empty, a fat cell that's empty, is only about 10 to 20 microns in size. It's just really a small, microns just means very, very small. It's an exact measurement, but it's very small. You have to see it under the microscope. When a fat cell is completely full, it goes up to about 200 microns. So in other words, a fat cell will expand about 10 to 20 times its size. But here's the deal. Once that fat cell gets completely full, it has other things besides fat in it. It has hormones, it has inflammatory processes, it has toxins, it has everything, right? It has the fat. As that fat cell completely expands, it's 200 microns, then stuff starts trying to spew out of it, and that's where we ramp up our insulin, because when you ramp up your insulin, it's almost like keeping that stuff from spewing out.
Right.
That's what, see, insulin's job is to keep the storage packed away.
Right.
And so the more you're full with your fat cells, the more insulin progressively it takes. It really is. And that's what, that gets down to the bottom line, is that the insulin is highly inflammatory too.
Right.
So we've got a couple of minutes. So what are some very practical things that people can do to reduce their insulin resistance? What are some practical things they can do?
Well, something that most people wouldn't consider would be to eat more healthy fats.
Healthy fats, absolutely.
Because you'd be less hungry.
Yes.
And it would help keep the sugar cravings away.
See, that's the bad cycle. When you eat sugar, you're going to be hungry in an hour, and then you're going to eat more. You're going to eat more. But when you start burning fat, and that's what you're talking about, is you start burning fat for energy. When you burn fat for energy, and that's, matter of fact, that's what these things with the ketogenic diet, that's what they found, is the ketogenic diet is actually, once you move into that, you're burning fat. And when you burn fat, you're not relying on the sugar, and you lower your sugar footprint.
And you kind of do it more, it's easier and it's more natural to get off the sugar that way, because you don't have all those cravings.
Right. You know, something that I do, and I practice this 3 or 4 times a week, or maybe 5 times a week, but I will do intermittent fasting. Now, there's a lot of definitions for intermittent fasting, but one of the things that I will do is I'll eat breakfast in the morning, maybe 8 o'clock in the morning, and then I'll eat lunch 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I don't eat until the next day.
Right.
Now you say, oh my goodness, how could you do that? And it's not that I'm great, it's that you can do this, but here's the thing, is that I have a low carbohydrate diet. I don't eat much sugar.
Right.
I mean, I don't eat any just plain white sugar, of course.
No, not at all.
But my carbohydrate imprint or footprint's so low that I'm eating more fats and some proteins, and therefore, as you just said, it's actually not too hard to go from 2 o'clock until 8 o'clock the next morning. And what they found, when you do that, you're actually mimicking caloric restriction. Now, I'm eating the same amount as I would throughout the whole day. I'm not restricting. I'm not eating, but I'm eating